Entrepreneur life requires risk, persistence, and a slightly unreasonable belief that this thing you're building is going to work.
And let's not forget, copious amounts of caffeine.
Yes, that too.
Hey guys, I'm Allison, the Caffeinated entrepreneur, an AI-powered business strategist and systems builder with an energy level that should probably come with a warning label.
And I'm Bernie, the man behind the mustache. I'm a virtual events producer who makes sure the tech works, the delivery is clean, and nobody panics, including Allison.
Each week, we are picking up the conversation where my weekly newsletter leaves off. No teaching, no pretending we have it all figured out.
Just two entrepreneurs talking honestly about the highs and lows of growing our own businesses.
And why some ideas are worth sipping on a little bit longer. Welcome to the Caffeinated Entrepreneur. Let's go behind the brew. Hey guys, grab your favorite caffeinated beverage and join us as we go behind the brew of issue number 67, Success Tastes Like a Blue Raspberry Slushie. Take two. Because let's just be real, Bernie, we did this episode once already.
We killed it last time. I'm just saying.
We did. And this is one of those moments, friends, where we're going to acknowledge that sometimes technology sucks. And it happened. We recorded this episode. It was Friday, right? It was Friday before the weekend. We recorded this episode. We crushed it. And then when I tried to do the editing right afterwards, the audio was like overlapping, and it was as if we kept interrupting each other. And I fought with the audio. I couldn't fix it. So take two.
Here we are.
Here we are. Here we go. But if you are listening to this episode, you will know that this was actually a very recent issue that I just shared. And one of the things, as Bernie and I have been pre-showing, we've kind of agreed that we were initially going back into like my archives to like dig up old newsletters. The truth is that recent newsletters for both of us are kind of more on the forefront of our minds. It's what's happening. And you guys will probably enjoy episodes because you're like, oh, I just read that issue like a couple of weeks ago. So that's what we're doing today. You may remember the Blue Raspberry Slushie was just after my children we took them to Harley-Davidson, and for the Globe of Death. That is what it is called, the Globe of Death event or whatever the heck it is. But it's literally, have you ever seen this, Bernie?
Oh, yeah. I remember as a kid seeing it at the circus. They would have multiple motorcycles going around this giant iron ball. It looked like they're going to hit each other. I hope they did secretly, but
okay, same brew, different cup, y'all. Meanwhile, I'm going, oh my gosh, don't die, oh my gosh. Yeah, they're like holding hands while they're going. I mean, it was so scary. Yeah. So scary. So we also decided that my soon-to-be 15-year-old could totally be a biker babe, could totally see her on her own Harley, right? And then my next daughter, who's 12, she's the one who's like, I want a dirt bike. I want to be like popping the wheelie and going really fast and doing the jumps, right? It's not a motorcycle, but a motorized dirt bike. And then my son, who's 10, he literally looks at me and he goes, no problem. I'll be their lawyer. And I was like, right, when they get into accidents, they're going to need a good lawyer and a good insurance salesman, and he could do both.
That's right.
We've got it all worked out.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So that was what preceded, ultimately, the Target checkout line moment when we stopped into Target across the street and picked up a badminton set and some super soakers and a toaster, of course. And while we were checking out, my husband was like, hey, kids, there's a slushie machine. And the checkout lady, who is super good salesman, she doesn't make commission off of slushies, but she's like, oh, how many slushies should I ring up? Like, she didn't even wait for me to say yes. And so he let them get slushies. And I kid you not, and we're going to talk about this today, but I was like, we made it. The kids are filling up slushies right now, and I am not panicking over the grocery budget. We made it. So anyway, that was my moment, Bernie. I'm gonna ask you, have you ever had a moment, like super ordinary moment, that never in a million years when someone says, Bernie, what does success look like to you? That you'd be like, oh, it looks like blue slushies in the Target checkout line. Like, Ever been one of those moments for you?
I don't think that I've actually specifically had that moment yet. Usually when somebody asks me that question, it is very business related. X amount of revenue, so many clients,
Mhm.
right? I want to be doing this number of events, things like that, like very measurable
Yeah.
things. But I imagine the feeling, right, is going to be very different when it's something like that, right? Not having to worry about, do I have, enough for the thing that the kids want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had quite that moment yet. There are still times where somebody asks me for something like, no, okay, yeah, it's fine. We can do that.
Well, what about not necessarily related? It's not like what I had, but like a moment where somebody wanted to do an event and they picked Bernie over somebody else. Like something that just made you feel like, shut up. They want to work with me. Like I've made it because so and so wants me.
Yeah, I think one of those moments for me was getting to do an event for Harvard School of Business. A friend of mine, Steve Barton, he's a business coach, and he got to do a presentation for Harvard School of Business, and he asked me to produce it for him. So getting to run an event for Harvard Business School and sitting there with the academics in the room, and it's like, all right, this is cool. I never saw this coming. I feel like from
Yeah.
a production standpoint, like this is top tier. This is pretty cool.
Well, and I felt the exact same way when we did the event for the not to be named
Association,
biggest small
yes.
business association in all of Michigan. The business association who will not be named, but we just named them. Like a same thing when you reached out to me of all people and said, I have an opportunity and I want you to be the one that helps me take it, take the bull by the horns and crush it. That for me was like, oh my gosh, that was an I made it moment. Cause never in a million years would I have ever written that down or answered that as a thing. Cause I didn't know it was, maybe that's the thing. I think the moments that make us feel successful that we could never define as success are the moments that we don't even think are possible or are so small that we would think they would be insignificant, like slushies. I mean, because those couldn't be more different.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And I think it's those moments are not going to be defined as big milestones. They are going to sneak up on you. It's going to be the thing that surprises you in the moment when it
Mhm.
when it happens. You would have never thought that the blue slushy thing would be the defining moment, right? You didn't even realize that it was even an opportunity to stand on a virtual stage in front of like,
Right.
didn't even know that existed. And then it happened. And that's, I think,
Yeah.
I think those unexpected moments are the ones where you're like, ooh, okay, that hits a little bit different, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I 100% agree. Okay, so I think for me, at least personally, the reason I've never liked the what does success look like to you is because I've always associated it with a number. Because when someone says, what does it look like? I think, what does it look like on paper, right? What does it look like in my bank account? What's the number of clients, the amount of money, and the hours worked, right? Those are the three things that I can quote unquote control. And so I've always associated success looking like certain numbers. I think that if a coach had asked me, Allison, what does success feel like to you? I would have had a completely different answer because now on the other side of this whole little like slushy experience, I felt successful in a moment that was 1,000% unexpected, totally not measurable. And I put this in the newsletter. I have had some really amazing numeric milestones that I have like broken my own personal bests in the last 3 months. And while all of them felt awesome, I'm not going to act like, oh, no big deal. No, no, no. They felt freaking incredible. But I also associated those numbers with an incredible amount of effort and work. And you know what I mean? Those moments felt good, but they didn't feel successful. Where this moment, it was that internal, like, I don't know, it was just this release of emotion that was very unexpected that felt successful. And that's not something that you can plan for, as you already said. So
Yeah, I mean, goals and milestones, I think you can achieve them and feel good about them, but it's not always, they don't always give you that feeling of success. Like, I know, yes, I've done it. I've done the thing. Yes, and it feels good. I've achieved it. But it's different when it truly is the feeling. It's an internal thing. It's not Just check the box. And
Have you ever had what you would consider a milestone that you thought was going to make you feel successful? Like maybe it was something you thought, well, if I just get this, I won't be as stressed. I won't have much pressure. I won't be afraid. And then you were like, well, that didn't happen. I'm still feeling all those things.
Well, I would say the first instance of that was actually becoming a business owner, right? Like you
Yeah.
didn't have this experience necessarily, right? Leaving corporate America. Yes, I don't have anybody to report to anymore. Nobody's telling me what to do or where to be or what I have to teach or who I have to work with, blah, blah, blah. I'll take time off when I want. Blah, blah. That's not how it works. Now I'm the boss and, like I'm a good boss to other people. I'm not a good boss to myself.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. The buck stops here
Right.
is really what it comes down to.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
That I would say that is probably the first and biggest one. Like just thinking through how that all happened, and it happened, kind of by accident for me. I didn't start my company. I bought the company from my predecessor. So that was the first one. Thinking that becoming a business owner would give me all of the freedom that I could ever want. That just didn't happen. It didn't happen that way for me. I think the other one is kind of the thought that as I started to sell bigger and bigger packages, that it would just continue to happen and continue to show up. There's still a lot of work, obviously, that has to be done to crack into the different markets, talking to different types of people. I guess I had it to a degree in my head, once I start working with X size company, I'm just going to keep on doing that. And it doesn't always just happen that way, right? Like you still got to build the relationships. You got to make the connections, you got to, whatever it might be.
Yeah. No, I think that that's a really good point because I think that there is a false sense of security, particularly in quote, big clients.
Mm-hmm.
Again, pre-show, Bernie and I were just talking about how I literally right before this recording just had what I would consider the most intimidating sales call of my small business career. But also like a super cool experience because I know I killed it. Doesn't mean I'm guaranteed to get the work. Like I am one of 3 people they're interviewing for this project. And you know what though? I'm like, I crushed it. And if they don't choose me, it's because they're choosing to go in a different direction, not because of what I offer isn't good enough, right? Like I know they were impressed. They're just not sure it's the solution they're looking for. But I was like, like, I think that's one of those things where that's a milestone that one would expect to make you feel super successful. I don't feel successful.
Right.
I feel scared to death right now because on the other side of that, I'm like, what if they hire me and then I have to deliver on this?
Fulfill it. Yeah.
It's like I spent 3 hours, on my last work day preparing for this call and then kind of maybe glad there was a little family drama this morning and an unexpected trip to the doctor's office, everybody. But that kind of distracted me. So I couldn't stress out about this sales call. I got back from that and I jump on this sales call and I go into it. Right. And so but even now I'm like, I don't know if my face looks as red as my shirt, but I'm like, I can feel the heat still. Like, but what if they choose me? Like pressure ain't gone, y'all. It's probably worse than it was before the call. So I don't feel less stressed because I hit that milestone and even did well. Like, nope. So just a little POV for those of you out there thinking, if I could just land that client, the bigger the client, the more pressure, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Allison, I remember in the newsletter, you said that, goals and success are not always the same thing. How did you come up with that? What did you mean by that?
Yeah. So I think this whole experience, again, how does success look/feel, which to me is somewhat of an end result, right? Success is like the pinnacle, right? It's the peak of Mount Everest. And I think what I discovered, and it's the beauty of writing these newsletters in a way is they're a little therapeutic. Like and of course I'm using Renault, my AI newsletter copywriter friend. He asks me questions. And then it's like a little bit of a therapy session. I answer the questions and then he reflects back to me what he hears me saying. And as he and I were talking about goals and my problem with constantly changing the goal, right? So I never actually ever achieve it. And what he heard is that, Allison, you don't see goals and success as the same thing anymore, where you used to. Like, why don't you? And what had occurred to me was that goals are now more like a map, right? They're like, Allison, here's the direction you're headed. Here are the actions you're going to take step by step by step, eventually help you achieve the feeling of success. And honestly, doesn't matter what the goals are. It doesn't matter if they're big, it doesn't matter if they're small, if they're short term, long term, that doesn't matter. The goals for me have now become the roadmap that is showing me the way to experience the feeling of success. And those moments where I feel successful pop up along the way, along the road, and I don't necessarily always see them.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of it has to do with perspective as well, right? And I think what a person's kind of going back to earlier, what their definition of success is, right? Because there are a lot of people who making $1 million, that does not mean to them that they're successful. Being able to spend time with their kids makes them successful. Being able to buy the slushie, right, that costs 99
Mhm.
cents is the thing. Yeah.
$2.50
Yeah.
for the record.
For the record.
By the way, before we go on, one more second, I'm distracting you. Favorite flavor, what is it?
Oh gosh, I have very fond memories of the Coke flavored slushie from Kmart when I was a kid, where they were my favorite, absolute favorite. Now I'd have to go with the Blue Raspberry Slushie.
It is the Blue Raspberry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will, don't be shocked. I've never actually had a real slushie.
Okay.
Never.
Never.
This will not surprise you. I like a chocolate milkshake. So I've never actually had a slushie, so I can't say my favorite slushie. I've
I mean,
always
like you've
chosen
never gone
milkshake
to
whenever.
7-Eleven and had a Slurpee? Like, I mean, that is a slushie.
Well, oh, okay. Slurpee, not slushie, 7-Eleven. I'm sure I did, but it was never if you ever gave me a choice between a Slurpee or a slushie versus a milkshake, I'm picking
Milkshake.
milkshake every day of the
Yeah.
week and twice on Sunday. So,
Yes.
all right. Anyway, I derailed you. I distracted you. You know why? I distracted you because you were going to make another great point that was going to end up being one of our podcast clips. And I'm over that, as some of you may know from a previous podcast clip where I expressed my annoyance with Bernie and his insightful comments. But go ahead, Bernie, see if you can't get that train of thought back.
I
What were
don't
you
know,
saying
Allison.
about
All I'm thinking about is
success?
milkshakes and slushies.
But in all truth, in all truth, you were making a really good point about, that idea, and I think this is where you were going, but that idea that the $1 million doesn't create the feeling of success so much as the peace and the margin and the stability and ultimately the freedom to be with your kids or to take the vacation, right? That is ultimately what success should look like. Well, should is the wrong answer. For some people, it may be the $1 million because, and that's okay. Like, no shame in that game. Like, I don't think that we should say that's a bad thing. But I think, at least for me, because in my mind, when I hit my first 5K month, that was success. And then, of course, at 4,500, I changed the goal to 10K. And then I hit a 10K month. And then it was, you know what I mean? Like, it goes up and up. But then it's like, you know what? My goal is now consistency. Just consistent revenue. I don't even, like, the number doesn't even matter. I just want to be able to plan on it.
Right.
Like, it's the feeling of security
Absolutely.
that I'm now equating with success. Very different
Well,
than it
yeah,
used
I
to
mean,
be.
that gives you peace of mind, right? Like it is one of the basic needs of being a human, right? You have to have that sense of security. But I don't think a lot of us think that deeply on it, or maybe that shallowly on it. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. Like, it's very simple in some cases, but we want to equate it to, these grand plans and buildings and workforces and all the things. But, sometimes it's just, lay your head down at night and feeling good about what you did and knowing your bills are paid.
Yeah. Do you think that your ambition has ever stolen joy from things that you're already experiencing?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
Good. I'm glad it's not just me. I'm just saying.
yes.
Glad you said it first.
No, it's not just you, overachiever. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I to a degree, honestly, I feel like that all of the time, right? Like, no matter what I achieve, even if I were to close another $10,000 course that we're going to deliver next week and get paid on the next day, I would still immediately be looking at what's the next one, what's the next call that I have to have that's going to lead me to the next
Yeah.
$10,000 delivery or whatever it is. And that definitely, it steals the joy a little. Like, I have to consciously stop and tell myself, dude, you did a good effing job today. Like, you did the thing. Like, pause and recognize. And Ty is really good about that for me as well. And I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she kind of forces you to step back and just acknowledge.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's the cheerleader. My mom's the cheerleader, like yours, right? Like you do have to have those people in there to remind you if you are that overachiever like you and I are, because I will go right
Mhm.
on to the next milestone. I am looking for the next thing, and it absolutely steals the joy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Call back to previous episode. I don't remember what it was, but we talked about your core four people, like business feels lonely. Those are the four people that make it better. One of them is the cheerleader, very specifically the cheerleader who's not in the business with you. Like they're not running the same race. They haven't already ran it. Like they're not a mentor. Like they are purely someone who's outside of what you're doing that just wants to high five you because they're like, oh my gosh, like they just think it's amazing. And so, yeah, for me, I'm blessed to say that there's been a number of them. Even my sister, my oldest sister, there was a time, this is actually talk about feeling successful. I used to go to her all the time for business advice. How do I talk to this client? Someone's overstepping boundaries, like how do whatever. And she would help me kind of work through like, here's the conversation because she's in management. She works for Amazon. She's an exec and she's been through the like talk about the struggle of middle management, right? Like I got to make the client happy, but I got to keep leadership happy. I got to keep my underlings. That's a horrible way to call it,
My
but you know what I mean?
minions happy.
My minions happy, right? And so when I was doing my online business management, I was super caught in that same world. Now, here we are a year and a half later, and she's like calling me like, I saw your Notion demo. I want to have a conversation. You need to help me get organized. I'm starting a business. I want, right? And it's like full circle 360, Allison, 180. Oh my gosh, friends. I'm the math person. Let's not. It's been a big day. Anyway, but yeah, like now she's coming to me for questions and advice or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that feels successful. And I'm to bring back to this ambition, stealing joy, her doing that is like, I'm excited about what I've accomplished simply because she thinks that what I've accomplished is super cool, right? And she wants to be a part of it. And so it brings joy back to what I would otherwise have been like, oh, yeah, that webinar, no big deal. I've done 8 or 9 webinars in a row.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's interesting too. I hadn't thought about this in a while. A former colleague of mine reached out to me. It was like a year and a half ago. I said something in one of my mustache moments videos, and it was one that I think it barely got like 5 likes. I didn't think anybody really saw it, and she literally quoted it back to me in a conversation that we had. She's like, "Yeah, we watch them every week, and a lot of them are really insightful, and we quote you in the office." I'm like, "What?"
You know what, Bernie? I am not surprised. Given all of the clips that you've done
Fair.
that I've had to make because you dropped the mic, I'm not surprised that you have a lot of quotable things.
Mm.
But isn't that such a good point? And this is super neat because it's got nothing to do with this, but everything to do with this at the same time. We have no idea how many people are watching us. We have no idea. And when we're sitting here thinking, I'm not a success because I didn't, or that didn't make me successful even though I accomplished. There are so many people who are silently watching our journey who just think that we're amazing. Not because they don't see us struggle, not because they don't see the hard work we're putting in. They don't think that we're, just born into this amazing ability to do X, Y, Z and be successful. But because they see all of that and we keep showing up and we keep fighting back, and then we keep sharing win after win after win, intermixed with
It's some
not
reality.
wins, not some reality, some pretty big failures. But they see the success, and it's not because we're only sharing our highlight reel. It's because we're showing the both sides of it, and that's when they're saying, "Oh my gosh, the success is there, friend. Just recognize it."
Mhm.
So
Well, I think a
I
lot
love
of
it.
people, and I can say this for myself as well. I've looked at others and been like, man, I wish I was where they are. And then you look at
Mhm.
what it took for them to get there, and you're like, oh, wow, okay, that's impressive. They did some stuff. And then there's other people that you look at, and you see their success, and you don't get to witness all of the hard work that it took to get them there.
Yep.
Right. What's the saying? Every overnight success took how long to get there? 10 years to get there, and you don't see those 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny you should bring that up because the newsletter that I'm actually currently writing that is dropping this week that people will have read by the time this episode goes out literally talks about this, the comparison trap
Mm.
and the green-eyed monster that we all become. So future podcast episode will be diving into that because that is the newsletter going out this week, y'all. So
A little foreshadow. That's fine. That's all good.
it's all
So,
good.
Allison, what would be one thing that if it showed up this week in a totally boring, normal, non-Instagram, Facebook type of way, what would it
Yeah.
look like?
For me, I mean, it's hard to beat the blue slushie. You know what I mean? The blue raspberry slushie. But I think, this is actually it. You're drinking out of the cow mug. Show everybody my favorite mug.
I'm
Bernie's
drinking
out of
out of
his
my
Longwood cow
Alaska
mug.
mug today.
Oh, I thought you had the cow mug today.
Bear on the
It's a bear. All right. Last time we recorded this episode, Bernie was drinking out of his Longhorn cow mug. Friends, my best friend of over 20 years is coming into town tomorrow morning, and I am taking the next 4 days off completely from my business to spend time with her, to Texify her, to take her to a rodeo and to take her to all these places, right? And my business is going to keep running. Revenue is going to keep coming in. Clients are going to keep being served. That was not true 2 years ago when I was an OBM with 4 clients who were in my face the entire time I was trying to be on vacation or not doing anything. Like, to me, that moment, that ordinary moment, and now that you've brought this up to me, is literally the fact that I am taking off 4 days and my business is going to keep clicking along because, number one, it's the business model I've curated over the last year and a half, right? But number two, because of the systems I have set up, because of the AI I have set up, because of the VA that I have trained, I'm good. Like, so there you go. That's it. I will be in my cowgirl hat with my own cow mug that I'll be buying at the stockyards on Wednesday at a rodeo going, this is it. This is success.
Success this week in a boring way looks like Allison at the rodeo with a cowboy hat on.
With a cowboy hat and my mug.
And your mug.
And my mug.
That's awesome. For me,
What about you?
This past weekend, just coming out of the 4th of July weekend. In prior years, I would not have been able to take the entire weekend off. But we went up north this weekend, left on Thursday evening, and just got back last night. Went up to Lachine, Michigan, near Alpena, and spent basically the whole weekend in the woods, shooting fireworks and drinking beers and playing bags and all of those things. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, because a year ago you would have been driving Uber all weekend, right? Like,
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. All right. Land the plane for us today, Bernie.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's see. I think the part that feels worth sitting with is that sometimes the business evidence that we've been waiting for doesn't always show up as that, huge deposit, a launch celebration, a dramatic, we made it, right, moment. Sometimes it shows up in the checkout line and it's a yes that feels really light instead of loaded. So, maybe the point is to not stop setting the goals. It's to stop moving forward so fast to the next one. Talking to myself here, that we miss what the current one already made possible. Because success might not always announce itself super loudly, right? Sometimes it's sticky, blue, and standing in front of the slushy machine.
I think that is probably the grossest but most accurate ending to our podcast ever. So, guys, thanks for listening. Remember, keep showing up, keep taking the next step because the caffeine is strong.
And so are you.
Cut. And I would just like to say that I did that ending this time and it's not on the screen and I remembered
Nailed
it
it.
and didn't panic. Nailed it. Nailing it today.